So together, this is another task that the municipality is working with the Hebrew University. When people decide to stay and do their doctorate thesis and work at the Hebrew University, some of their decisions are: where are their children going to learn? Is their culture life? Is the quality of life in Jerusalem competitive enough with other cities? And while we're basing our fundamental strategies on our core competitive advantages, we have to understand that Jerusalem is competing with other cities for the best and the brightest. Once people understand the vision and the importance of increasing tourism and the other businesses, now we go down to developing a master plan, the physical master plan for the city of Jerusalem. And when we develop our plan, we have to bear in mind that Jerusalem will scale and grow from 800,000 people today to 1 million people in 20 years. 200,000 more people will be added to Jerusalem by natural growth in the next 20 years. A third are Arabs and 2/3 are Jews, the same ratio of the population. And so our master plan, the physical plan, talks about expanding current neighborhoods. It's expanding the Arab neighborhoods, it's expanding the Jewish neighborhoods, and we're talking about additional 50,000 apartments in one master plan, which was, by the way, developed a decade. Ehud Olmert started it as mayor, Lupliansky continued, and we've completed it. And it's now practically ready for, and we are working and deriving our work from the master plan. Next to the living residential areas, we're now developing over 1 million square meters of office space at the entrance of the city and around the main arteries of the city. 1 million square meters of industry. We're expanding industry. We're adding to the 12,000 rooms of the hotel industry in Jerusalem. In an evolutionary way, we will be adding about 20,000 rooms in the next decade. That will be our goal. And all that together is building Jerusalem for the opportunity that lies ahead. People in the world talk about Jerusalem and ask me, especially in the last year and a half, what is this business of freezing in the city of Jerusalem? And I asked them back, and I spent some time in the U.S. administration in the last year and a half. And I said, I'll share with you my vision. I'll share with you the challenges that we have to build the city for the benefit of the world. What exactly should we be freezing? Should we be freezing the residential areas? The business commercial areas? The hotel industry? God forbid, should we freeze by race? Only for Jews? Or only for Arabs? We're committed to a master plan that is honest and fair. And Jerusalem will not freeze for anything. Jerusalem has to develop, to scale to its opportunity. And I am committed to do the right thing for the city. To continue building and enabling Arabs and Jews alike to develop the city for the benefit of themselves as residents and for the benefit of the world. It is true, we have lots of gaps in our city. If you go to some neighborhoods in eastern part of the city, Arab neighborhoods, there's a big gap between the old plans and reality. Turns out that, unfortunately, we have a lot of illegal buildings in Jerusalem. Illegal buildings are a result of negligence, of improper plans, gaps so that people found it hard to develop new housing. And because of that, Jews in Jerusalem, if they can't find a proper house, they don't build illegally usually, they leave the city. If we don't build for the Jewish side, for Jews, the young population leaves. And if we don't properly plan for the Arabs, they will build illegally. And that is why we should plan for Jews and Arabs alike and get everyone to work according to the law. I also decided, rather than to ignore 20,000 illegal structures in Jerusalem, especially on the Arab side, or rather, to take them all to court, which is the wrong thing to do, to go neighborhood by neighborhood and rezone those neighborhoods, replan them, go as liberal as one can, in order to be considerate of the current situation of those neighborhoods. Plan the roads, the schools, the areas that have not yet been built, rezone them, enable the vast majority of the residents to get a proper license, to get proper services, because when you can't plan those neighborhoods, it's also very difficult to serve them. So the rezoning process that is now taking place, and I've started a pilot in a few neighborhoods, we're now expanding it, and I'm committed to start all the Arab neighborhoods by the end of my first term in the next 3 years. It's a process that takes a year and a half to get this skeleton planning. And then from the skeleton planning, it's much, much easier for people to start getting permits. Through those periods of rezoning, when we go through a rezoning process, I've requested the government to stop all legal cases against the residents for the simple reason that is, once you've rezoned those areas and you finish rezoning, most of those cases become obsolete anyway. And this process will enable us, in a smart way, to bring order and to decrease the tension with the residents of neighborhoods that are improperly planned. I believe that by taking such responsibility, we will be able to decrease tensions in the city and put the city in the right track, also on the physical side, alongside the business side and the education side, to fulfill the vision that I shared with you earlier. I also know that by taking a very honest and fair approach and maintaining freedom of religion in Jerusalem is a strategy that we must pursue very, very aggressively. As a matter of fact, only in the last 43 years since Jerusalem was reunited, can actually people practice their religion freely anywhere in the city. Never in the last 2,000 years, since the destruction of the temple, was Jerusalem such an international open city as it is today. The Muslims manage the Muslim sites, the Christians the Christian sites, and the Jews the Jewish sites. As a matter of fact, the only limited religion by law are the Jews that are not allowed to pray on the Temple Mount. And this is a status quo that we will be maintaining for the benefit of keeping Jerusalem an open and free city for the whole world. And once people understand this vision, then I explain to them why Jerusalem has to stay a united city. God forbid, never split. Both ideologically and to maintain and to exploit the huge potential of our city, it has to work as one heart. You cannot divide a heart. The rooms will not work separately. Also, as a business person with a business background, I challenge my peers. When somebody wants to show us a good working business model, we always look for comparables. There's not one city in the world, not one in the history of the people of the world, that was split that ever worked. Split cities either stay dysfunctional or get reunited again after a while. Jerusalem has to focus on the common denominator, on enabling everybody to come enjoy the city. This is where we should be focusing on. We should close gaps. We should pursue justice, maintain Jerusalem open, attract tourists, attract business people, attract the young population. And this is how, together, I believe Jerusalem will work much, much better. And this is the vision that I've been pursuing. People ask me how it is in the last 2 years I'm mayor. What do I feel? I'm an independent. I do not belong to any party. I don't want any pay. I just want to make Jerusalem work better. And people ask me how it is, and my answer is it's much better than I expected. It's better. We have a very strong coalition in Jerusalem. 27 out of 31 council members. Ultra-Orthodox, national religious, secular. The professional team, 8,000 people in the municipality, have very good management. I'm surprised. I come from the private sector. And they acknowledge. And they are now understanding what the DNA, the business world DNA of planning, of accountability, of measurability. And I could tell you that the municipality is reacting much better to the vision that I put in front of them. Jerusalem has become bullish. Something good is happening in our city. And if you go and ask these days, and we do survey public opinion, not only in Jerusalem but in the country, something good is happening. And whoever comes to visit and has visited us in the last year will probably recognize the positive momentum through culture, through tourism, and other business elements around the city. And I'm very optimistic and believe that if we continue fulfilling the vision, not only dealing with the tail issues, not only dealing with the conflicts and try to push them aside, but actually focus on the common denominator, the vision, stick to those to that direction, and indeed, I believe that we're going the right way. I hope you understand how integrated and interdependent Jerusalem is with the Hebrew University. It's interdependent because it brings over 20,000 students a year. 20,000 students that study in the Hebrew U, and the students are the oxygen for the city. If we make their life better, better dorms, better places, better schools, if we offer them higher grants, if we offer them new places, and we challenge the academia in the Hebrew University to work together with the business world in Jerusalem, there's no doubt in my mind that together the destiny of the Hebrew U and Jerusalem goes together. And the better the Hebrew U does, the better the city does, and vice versa. This is why I regularly sit with my dear friend, Professor Menachem Ben Sasson, and Carmi Gilon, and the entire management of the Hebrew U. We discuss current affairs, we discuss how we invest together. And, of course, the reason I came here to greet you is, of course, I don't have to remind the people sitting here in the crowd the importance of the Hebrew University in Jerusalem. But just in case, I wanted to come here and say thank you. To thank you all for the unprecedented help that you've been given to the Hebrew University, not just the last 2 years. The exact same help that brought my father to migrate to Jerusalem from Tel Aviv. The exact same help that got me to study in the Hebrew University, that got us ideas to perform our business, that hopefully in the next few years when my 3 daughters will finish the army, will also choose maybe to study in the Hebrew University. You're all great supporters, and I've heard from Carmi that in the last years you've helped the Hebrew Uni build new dormitories, new centers of research, including the Edmund and Lily Safra Center for Brain Science, which is a huge investment in the Safra campus. You've provided hundreds of students with scholarships just in the past 10 years. And all this together is a huge, huge help to the city of Jerusalem. People ask me, why do I do what I do? And the reason is because we have no choice but to become successful. Jerusalem has no choice but to be on the right track and prove that it's worthy for the Jewish people and worthy for the world. So I came here to salute you and thank you for your support. And I would like to sum my speech by wishing us all L'Shana Haba B'Yerushalayim Habnuya. Thank you very much.